Okay, so in Sefer Ha-Aggadah, we keep looking at stories about the great scholars. In page 161, of the first volume, it says this: אמרו עליו על רבי אלעזר בר צדוק ועל אבא שאול בן בוטנית שהיו חנוונים בירושלים כל ימי חייהם. Again, we see that the great scholars of the time of the Mishnah all were working people. Previously, in Sefer Ha-Aggadah, they bring many stories about those two rabbis of how righteous they were and almost performing miracles. And he says, what did they do for a living? They were store owners, selling oil, flour, etc. Ba'alei makolet, yeah. Now, the way they used to sell oil back then, I mean, actually, it was the same until probably 30 years ago in most places. Before you had container for everything, that is that you go and there are big bags and big containers or barrels, and you bring your own utensil and they fill it up for you. That is even before having bags or paper bags, right? So the Gemara says, "Hayu memalin midotehen me'erev yom tov v'notnim otam lelakochot b'yom tov." So what people noticed that those two rabbis, Abba Shaul ben Botnit, Rabbi Elazar ben Tzadok, would fill up the utensils, like the smaller containers, before Yom Tov, and then when people would come during the holiday, they would give it to them, sort of like on credit. Why would they do that? Because you're not allowed to conduct business on the holiday, but they knew that people will need it because they come to Yerushalayim, they don't have warehouses or storage, so they need, when they prepare food, they need oil, they need wine, they did it for them. רבי חנניה בן עקביה אומר, אף בחולו של מועד היו עושים כן, מפני ביטול בית המדרש. They said, so now another rabbi says, no, you misunderstood their intention. I mean, someone only saw that on the holiday, and he thought that's the reason. He says, no, they did it also during the Hol HaMoed, during the days that are not forbidden to do work. So why did they do that? מפני ביטול בית המדרש. They said because they were, besides working at the store, they were also very busy in teaching people and answering questions. And on the holiday, because a lot of people would come to Yerushalayim, they had many halachic questions that they would bring to them, so they wanted to be able to provide service to their customers as well. Then another opinion says, no, both of you misunderstand their actions because you only saw them during Yom Tov or during the holiday, but they used to do it the whole year. The whole year, the whole year they used to fill up the utensils from before, from the night before, or in other words, they would pre-package the utensils. Why would they do that? The Gemara says, "Mipenei mitzui hamidot," because the way that how do you sell liquids or anything to people back then? You have your own container that is already measured to scale, right? Let's say it's a gallon, half a gallon, quart, etc. Right? Now the people come from home and they bring different types of utensils. It could be a pot, whatever they have available. So you have to use your own utensil and pass it to their barrel. So let's say a person comes to buy a quart of oil. So you fill up your quart, you have the quart of oil, and then you pour it into his utensil. How much did he get?
It's standard price.
No, how much oil did he get?
A quart.
A little less than a quart.
Right.
Why? Because you know that the oil is very thick and there's still left in your vessel. How can you measure that? So what they would do, they would tell people, bring us your utensils at the night before, and we will fill. They had enough measuring vessels that's marked quart, etc., and they would turn them over to make sure that every last drop falls into the... So this whole story now, why is it important? What we see here is this. People, passers-by, they go into the street, they buy, they go to the store, they buy from those two rabbis, Abba Shaul and Rabbi Elazar, and they say something interesting. They fill up the utensils from the night before. So some people think they saw it only on Yom Tov. They think they did it because they want to provide food on Yom Tov. Other people think they do it only during Chol HaMoed, so they do it for to have time to answer people. But those who knew them well knew that they did it the whole year. And they tell you, why do they do that? Out of such awareness of business ethics. That they say, if I sell you a quart, I want to give you your full quart, what you deserve. Now, one could have argued, that's, it's negligible. It's the kind of thing that the customer acknowledges. I know that I might lose a couple of drops, I don't care. They say, I know that you don't care, but I care. I want to make sure that you get everything that you paid for. That's a very important concept to keep in mind. Despite all that, they say, Afu kines 300 kadei shemen v'havero 300 kadei yain mimitzui amidot. Even after that, they still had, little drops falling afterwards, and they kept it separately. They would not resell them. And at a certain point, they gathered all this, and they would take that to the guardians of the temple. They said, this is the oil and wine that doesn't belong to us. They gathered 300, is an exaggeration, 300 jars of oil, 300 jars of wine, only from that left over. And they took it to the guardians of the temple. They said, we don't want to use it because it's not ours. The guardians, the Gizbarim, said, "En atem zekukim lechach." You don't have to do that. It's yours. That's sort of like an unwritten agreement between the customer and the seller. It's okay if something is missing. Amru lahem en retzonenu bahem. We know that we could use them, but we don't feel comfortable with that. So they gave it a dedication to Bet HaMikdash, to the temple.
Couldn't they just raise the price a little bit and then say buy one quart, you get half free, half free or something
That's before marketing.
Yeah.
They didn't have marketing strategies then.
No, actually they did. Actually,
what I mean is that little bit would be within the free half that you or something.
Of course, what you see here is not the norm. It's someone who does above and beyond because he doesn't want to be the one who, takes something that doesn't belong to him. You always have that. Let's say there's a broken meter, right? Some people park there, some people wouldn't park there. Sometimes the city has to say, if the meter is broken, you cannot park here, which is really unfair. If the meter is broken, it's the city's problem. They have to go fix it. But okay, so they're afraid that people will break it and then park there. But always you have those gray zones, is it mine or not? To me, it happened when I went back to Israel. I lived in Colombia for 5 years. Then I went back to Israel for 2 years. I got a status of Toshav Hozer, returning citizen, which is not like an immigrant, Ole Hadash, but you get some tax cuts and benefits, mainly for furniture and stuff like that. Okay, and they told me that you're not allowed to sell or give that furniture to anyone. It was a couple of appliances, washer, whatever, and then after 2 years, I got a pressure to go back and serve, and I eventually ended up coming to go to New Jersey. So I called the Meches in Yafo, the House of Customs. I said, I have those things that I bought and you told me that I can only use it for myself. I want to give it away as a gift to friends and family, which we will do eventually. They say, no, you can't do it. You're not allowed. By phone, that's what they tell me, right? Because they think that you're making a profit on it.
Side deal.
So I said I want to settle that. I don't want to steal from anyone. I went to the custom office in Yafo, waited for 3 hours because it's this is the kind of government office. It's like the DMV. You need them; they don't need you. So they don't have to give you good service. Now DMV area is a little different, I want to say, but anyway, for 3 hours. Then I got to the clerk. I tell her what the case is. She says, "So what do you want?" I said, "I want to pay you the whatever tax break you gave me. I want to pay it free, and then let me go. Let me do whatever I want with it." She said, "I don't know what to do with that." She says, "I'll let you talk with the person, with the manager, Menayel HaMeches." So finally, I got I get it, and I speak with him, and he says, "No, tell me exactly what is it that you want." I said, "I got those things with a tax break. You told me that I cannot sell them or give them or anything. I have to put them in storage. I already have bad experience from last time I left Israel. I left my thing in storage, and the guy who I left him with decided I'm not coming back and gave it away to people that I don't know, right? And in that case, it was something that my wife's father made personally for us. So it was painful. So this time I don't want this to happen. I just wanted to give it, but you said you can. I can. I want to pay you. Tell me how much do I have to pay? What did I get? Break. He says, he made me repeat the story again. He didn't get. He tells me you're crazy. He says, I'm here for like 30 years. I never heard anyone asking for that. Go do whatever you want, right? So fine. So he gave me the permission. There was like a sort of a written law, right? I wanted to do, I guess, above and beyond. Maybe because of stories like that. But I always felt better that I know I'm trying to do what is right in Be'anei Hashem V'Yisrael. So yeah, there are solutions, and there were marketing at the time. The Gemara actually speaks about marketing strategy. They say, can a shopkeeper give candies to the kids who come to his store? Some rabbis said it's unfair. Why? Because the parents send the kids to the store. So go to the makolet, go to the grocery store, right? Now they have two stores. In one store they're going to get candy. The other store they're just going to get the product. So they're going to go to this guy. So one opinion said that's not fair. It's unfair competition. Eventually the halacha was ruled. It's okay. Why? He says the shopkeeper could say ana pelug amguze and plug shvisake. When he says I'm giving them walnuts, you can give them dried fruit. Meaning you could add this little added value to for the customer. So we do have that. But I'll give you another example of the idea of business ethics that's more on a personal level. And here's the story. Shanu Rabotenu, that's about another rabbi, Yonatan ben Uziel. Shanu Rabotenu, מעשה באדם אחד שלא היו בניו נוהגים כשורה, עמד וחטב נכסיו ליונתן ben Uziel. A certain man felt that his children are what we call off the derech. He wasn't happy with them, with their behavior. He decided to punish them. How does he punish them? He made a will. In the will, he gave everything to a rabbi, a great scholar, Yonatan ben Uziel. Is this the right thing to do? Probably not. I know a lot of families where parents did that they used the will, they used their money as a threat or to cause power play between their children. They gave some more, they gave some less. It's not a good thing. Yeah, anyway, that person passes away from the world. Give them what you have, show them love, and you know a lot. As we say, Khali al Allah, let Hashem, it will develop in the right way. And that's how Yonatan, the rabbi who received all that money, thought along these lines. What did he do? Ma'asa, machar shlish, v'gdish shlish, v'yahzir levanav shlish. So he split it into 3 portions. 1/3 he sold, and we don't know what he did with the money. 1/3 he gave to the temple, to the Beit HaMikdash. Probably was a lot of money. With all that, still enough was left for the children. And 1/3 he gave back to the men's children. Gave it back to them as a gift, because he says, "Well, I can give a gift. If the man gave it to me, it's mine, right? Completely. So now I want to give it a gift to his children." Ba'alav Shammai b'maklo v'tarmilo. Shammai, remember we spoke about him, was a strict person. He came with his bag and backpack, meaning, and his staff, meaning the moment he heard it, he came from the road, didn't delay a minute. He's very upset. What are you doing? You're going against the will of that man. He didn't want the money to come to his children. Yonatan ben Uziel said this. Amar lo Shammai, אם אתה יכול להוציא מה שמכרתי ומה שהקדשתי, אתה יכול להוציא מה שהחזרתי. He says, okay, no problem. You want me to undo the gift? Go and undo the sale and undo the dedication. That's why it was smart. He says you could argue with words, but with action it's very hard to argue. He said, listen, I divided into 3 portions. 1 portion I sold. 1 portion I dedicated to the temple. And 1 portion I give to the children. You want me to undo 1 part. Can you undo the other transactions? He said no. Why? Because when you sell something, it's a final sale. Unless you specified in but there was no specification, so it's a final sale. He says, I cannot go to the people who bought from you the possessions of the deceased and change it. So, And now, can you go to the temple and get me back the things that I gave to the temple? He says, no, I can't. He says, so you can't go to the children and ask them to give it back to me. So he answered, Amar Hetiyah Alai ben Uziel. Like he won the argument, he won the case. So again, you see, like with those little stories, you learn much more than when you read written halakha. Yonatan ben Uziel had the insight. He said, what this man did was sort of like a posthumous, a post-death punishment to his children. That's not a good thing. If you didn't change their attitude when you were alive, this is not going to help. They're just going to hate him even more. And if it was about religion, they're going to hate the religion that he represented. Instead, Yonatan ben Uziel showed them, this is the true way of the Jewish faith. Here's the money. Take it. I don't want to use it. You take it. Do it whatever you want. And probably that helped them fix their ways. The other thing that we see with his wisdom, he foresaw that there would be some objection, and he created the gift in a way that nobody could refute it by splitting it into 3 portions, giving, dedicating, and selling. So we learn from that also how to conduct our transaction business with people. Always try to find ways to help others in their life. Okay, we'll stop here. Autocorrect. Yeah, what?
He wrote the Perush on.
They say that he wrote the translation on the Nevim Ktuvim. It's
not the Torah.
Not the Torah. It's attributed to him. By mistake, it says.
Aramaic.
Yeah, but it's not his because it was printed Taf Yud, Rashi Tevot Taf Yud, which means Targum Yerushalmi, and then people misunderstood it as to be Targum Yonatan. But what is attributed to him is the one on Nevim and Ktuvim.
And what era he was?
Yonatan ben Uziel, time of Hillel and Shammai, 1st century. Baruch Adonai.